I get off my property.
Beulah hired me. She can fire me.
Bitch.
We can do this the easy way, or we can do it the hard way.
The Dutton Ranch Season 2 trailer has arrived, and it confirmed every fear, every theory, and every hope the fandom has been carrying since July 3. Beth and Rip are back in Yellowstone mode. Mariano Reyes is about to discover what happens when a Dutton war is no longer restrained by the logic of building something. Beulah Jackson, stripped of her son and her empire and every reason she had to stay careful, has made a decision about which side of this fight she is going to be on when it ends. And Carter is somewhere in South Texas, in the hands of a man who took him believing that leverage over a Dutton is the same thing as power over one. The trailer does not ease anyone in gently. Will Beth and Rip go into Mariano's operation together, or does the trailer show the first genuine fracture in their partnership when it matters most? Will Beulah's decision to stand with Beth and Rip survive the first moment Beulah's interests and theirs diverge, or does the alliance collapse before it ever becomes functional? Is Waqin Reyes already being positioned in the trailer as the weapon that destroys his own father, and does Season 2 show him choosing that role or being pushed into it? Will the Marshals crossover that Kelly Riley and Cole Hauser have both publicly said they want actually arrive in Season 2? And does the trailer plant the thread that confirms Kayce is heading to Texas? Does Oriana tell Carter she is pregnant before he is recovered, or does that revelation land after, and does the trailer reveal which one? And is the new face in the Season 2 cast the big-name addition the Yellowstone universe has been building toward since the franchise began? Every one of those questions has an answer in this trailer, and this channel covers all of them. For every fan who has been waiting since the Season 1 finale and wants every detail of Season 2 broken down before the premiere arrives, hitting subscribe and leaving a like right now means never missing a single Dutton Ranch breakdown this season. This channel covers every episode, every trailer, and every confirmed detail across the entire Yellowstone universe as it drops. The single most important moment in this trailer is the one that arrives in its opening 10 seconds, and it is not an action sequence. It is Beth Dutton, standing in the Texas sun, with a look on her face that every fan of this franchise has spent 5 seasons of Yellowstone and 9 episodes of Dutton Ranch learning to read, with the specific dread that only comes from caring about a character's emotional state more than their physical safety. It is not fury. Kelly Riley has always understood that the furious Beth is the Beth who can be predicted, contained, responded to, with something resembling a plan, by people who have been watching her long enough to know what fury looks like on her. The Beth in this trailer's opening frames has moved past fury entirely into something quieter and more total and more irreversible. The weight of that image is enormous for every viewer who watched the Season 1 finale and then watched Carter's plane lift off and understood what was happening before the episode framed it explicitly. Beth Dutton built something in South Texas from the wreckage of Yellowstone, built it with Rip, with Carter, with the specific stubbornness of a woman who refused to let one more thing be taken from her, because she had already given more than anyone should have to give, and had decided somewhere in Montana's burned wreckage that the cost of building again was worth paying, precisely because it was so high. And then it was taken. The trailer makes no attempt to soften what happened or provide a narrative bridge between the Beth who watched that plane leave and the Beth who is now standing in front of the camera with the expression of a woman who has already decided exactly what she is going to do and is simply waiting for the precise moment to begin doing it. The show is simply showing the audience the version of Beth Dutton that exists after all the softness that South Texas briefly produced in her has been burned away by the one thing the Yellowstone universe has always known how to do better than any other franchise on television, taking what a character loves and making them fight through hell to get it back. Kelly Riley confirmed in her TV Insider exclusive following the finale that Beth and Rip are back in Yellowstone mode for Season 2, and the trailer's opening frames are the visual proof of that confirmation. However, the situation is far more complicated than Beth at full capacity, because the trailer also shows Rip Wheeler in a scene that reveals something about his state entering Season 2 that the show has never fully confronted before. Rip is not waiting for Beth's plan. he is already moving. Cole Hauser told TV Insider that Rip Wheeler in Season 2 is operating from a place of absolute clarity. No hesitation, no restraint, no calculation of cost. A man who has spent an entire season building a family in Texas and watched one of its members taken by a cartel in broad daylight is not a man who waits for strategy. He is a man who moves toward the problem and removes it. The trailer positions Beth's precision and Rip's momentum as the season's central engine and as its central tension in the same 10-second sequence. However, unfortunately, those two things moving in the same direction at different speeds have historically been the most dangerous combination in the Yellowstone universe, and Season 2 appears to be betting everything on that truth. The most likely explanation for how the trailer structures the Season 2 rescue arc is a deliberate decision to make Carter's recovery the engine of the season rather than the opening act, and the evidence is clear in every confirmed detail from Kelly Riley and Cole Hauser's post-finale interviews. Both stars confirmed that Beth, Rip, Beulah, and Everett McKinney carry equal weight in Season 2, which is the most significant structural statement the show has made about its expansion since the Season 1 premiere. Season 1 was primarily a Beth and Rip story with Beulah and Everett as formidable obstacles. The confirmed framing of Season 2 places all four of those characters on the same side of the same problem, and the problem is Mariano Reyes. The trailer confirms this by showing Beulah in a scene with Beth that is framed not as confrontation, but as alliance. Two women, sitting across from each other with the specific body language of people who do not trust each other and have decided that trust is not the prerequisite for what they are about to do together. Annette Bening has described Beulah as a woman whose entire adult life has been about controlling the conditions of her own survival, and the trailer shows that instinct redirected entirely. Beulah is not trying to survive Mariano anymore. She is trying to ensure he does not survive her. The most logical conclusion from every confirmed detail is that the trailer's central act shows Beth and Beulah building a tactical picture of Mariano's operation that neither could construct alone. Beth with the Dutton capacity for institutional warfare and legal documentation. Beulah with 15 years of operational knowledge about every route, every contact, and every location in the 10-petal cartel network. Everett McKinney's expanded role in Season 2 is the third element of that picture, a man who spent Season 1 operating at the edges of what anyone asked him to do, and who the trailer now positions at the center. Ed Harris confirmed he signed on for 2 seasons and was told his role expands significantly, and the trailer delivers on that promise in a sequence that shows Everett moving with the kind of specific purposeful energy the character has been holding in reserve since his first scene. The consequence of this 4-person alliance for Mariano is not a threat he can respond to with leverage. Carter was taken to prevent this exact configuration from assembling. It assembled anyway. But that development raises an even more dangerous question about Waqin Reyes, and the trailer answers it in the most carefully constructed sequence of footage in the entire 2 minutes. Waqin appears in 3 separate scenes in the trailer, and the progression of his physical state across those 3 scenes tells every fan who watched the Season 1 finale exactly what the show has decided to do with the guilt the finale planted in him. The first Waqin scene shows him at Rob Will's funeral, standing at the periphery of the mourners, not at their center, where a brother would stand. The second shows him alone in a room that looks like Mariano's compound, with an expression the trailer holds for long enough to make its meaning unmistakable. He has done something he cannot undo, for someone who will ask him to do it again, and he is now living inside the specific prison that creates. The third scene shows him looking directly at camera in a moment that the trailer cuts away from before the audience can fully read what he has decided. The most likely explanation for what that third scene is building toward is the most dramatically satisfying and structurally logical outcome the show has constructed across 9 episodes. Waqin turning against Mariano, not out of conscience alone, but out of the specific combination of guilt and survival instinct that the show has been building in him since his introduction. Juan Pablo Raba confirmed his return for Season 2, and Screen Rant has identified Waqin as possibly the show's most poisonous heir, a character whose arc in Season 2 may be less villain and more controlled detonation, aimed at the man who made him one. If this theory proves correct, the consequence for Mariano entering the trailer's third act is that the most dangerous weapon against him is already inside his compound, already knows every detail of his operation, and is waiting for the moment to move. The evidence also points toward a fourth thread in the trailer that has generated the most discussion in the fandom since the footage dropped, and it belongs to the Marshals crossover. Kayce Dutton's name is spoken aloud in the Dutton Ranch Season 2 trailer for the first time, and the context in which it appears confirms what every fan of both shows has been theorizing since Marshals Season 1 ended, with Tate being taken to Texas. The conversation happens between Rip and Beth, and it is brief and specific. Rip says a name, Beth pauses, and then nods. That pause is everything. The show does not dwell on it because it does not need to. Every viewer who has watched both shows understands in that pause exactly what is being communicated, that Kayce Dutton's trajectory in Marshals Season 2 and Beth and Rip's trajectory in Dutton Ranch Season 2 are converging on the same piece of geography, with the same cartel infrastructure between them. Kelly Riley and Cole Hauser both told TV Insider they want the crossover and believe it makes narrative sense. The trailer appears to confirm that the writers' room agreed. The most logical conclusion is that the crossover does not dominate Season 2's structure, but arrives at a specific point, the moment when Rip and Beth's resources have been maximized. Beulah's intelligence has been deployed, and the operation against Mariano requires the one thing neither Beth nor Rip possesses: federal authority and tactical military training in a Texas jurisdiction where the cartel has been paying law enforcement for longer than Carter has been alive. Kayce Dutton arriving in Rio Paloma with a Marshals badge and Mo brings plenty beside him is not a guest appearance. It is the franchise delivering its most constructed and most earned moment since the Yellowstone finale. While the main rescue arc and the Joaquin betrayal and the Marshals crossover dominate the trailer's action sequences, there is a storyline running beneath every other frame that every careful fan needs to hold going into Season 2, and it belongs to Oriana. Natalie Allen Lind appears in a trailer scene that tells the audience more in 4 seconds than most shows manage in an entire episode. Oriana, alone, with one hand on her stomach and eyes on a horizon the camera does not show. She does not speak in the scene. She does not need to. The information she is carrying, the pregnancy Carter does not know about, the father who is dead and buried and whose murder she is still processing, the child of the boy who was taken before she could tell him anything, is the most emotionally loaded piece of information in the entire Season 2 setup, and the trailer understands that showing Oriana in silence is more powerful than any dialogue the scene could have given her. Natalie Allen Lind confirmed to Taste of Country after the Season 1 finale that her character develops significantly in Season 2, and the trailer's framing of that single 4-second image suggests exactly what kind of development she means. Oriana is not going to spend Season 2 as the frightened daughter of a dead man and the girlfriend of a kidnapped boy. She is going to spend Season 2 becoming someone with a claim, with a reason, with a future that requires her to stop being afraid of the people who destroyed her family and start being the thing that remains after they are gone. Fandom Wire has identified her as potentially the show's most unexpected Season 2 MVP for exactly this reason, and the trailer's choice to give her the most quietly devastating scene in the footage, without a single word, without a single action, with only a hand on a stomach and a horizon nobody else can see, is the show's way of confirming that reading. The consequence of Oriana's arc for Beth is the transformation that changes every decision Beth makes across the season. Once Beth knows about the pregnancy, and the trailer implies she finds out earlier in Season 2 than fans might expect, the rescue is no longer simply about Carter. It is about the future of something the Dutton family has been trying to build since Yellowstone ended and the ranch burned, and Beth and Rip drove south with a boy and a hope and the specific Dutton refusal to stop. After everything the Season 2 trailer has confirmed, Beth and Rip back in Yellowstone mode, Beulah and Everett standing alongside them with equal weight, Joaquin moving toward a decision that could destroy his father from the inside, the Marshals crossover confirmed in a single pause between Rip and Beth, and Oriana standing alone with a secret that changes the stakes of everything. The question every fan is now focused on is the simplest one. When does Season 2 actually arrive? Filming begins February 2027, confirmed by Kelly Riley in her Hollywood Reporter interview, where she stated the writer's room starts immediately and she expects to be deeply involved in shaping the story. A February 2027 production start on the pattern of Season 1, which filmed through approximately early 2026 before its May 2026 premiere, puts Season 2 on track for a late 2027 premiere on Paramount+, with a Paramount Network simulcast consistent with the Season 1 rollout that drew 1.85 million viewers on its cable debut and made Dutton Ranch the #1 cable entertainment telecast in America the week it launched. Taylor Sheridan is personally in the writer's room for the first time. Benjamin Cavell brings the tactical precision of SEAL Team as showrunner, and every confirmed detail from the cast points toward a Season 2 that uses the full four-character alliance of Beth, Rip, Beulah, and Everett as its central engine. Based on everything the trailer has shown, and everything the cast has confirmed, the wait until late 2027 is going to feel like the longest one in Yellowstone universe history. Now the conversation moves to the fans. Does Beulah's alliance with Beth and Rip hold together past the moment Mariano makes an offer that gives her something she wants more than revenge? And if that alliance fractures before the rescue is complete, which direction does Beulah move when the moment of choice arrives and she has to decide whether loyalty to her own survival or loyalty to the war she joined matters more? Does Joaquin make his move against Mariano before or after the Duttons reach Carter? And if he moves first, does that action save Carter's life by destabilizing Mariano's leverage calculation? Or does it put Carter in more immediate danger by turning the compound into a war zone before Beth and Rip have positioned themselves to extract him? And when the Marshals crossover finally happens and Kayce Dutton walks into Rio Paloma with a badge and Mo beside him, does the show give Beth and her brother a scene that honors everything 5 seasons of Yellowstone built between them? Or does it trust that the embrace itself, after everything both of them have survived to get there, is already more than enough? The video on screen covers every other detail fans need before Season 2 arrives.